This time on the book club, my first time reading a classic author. This is After Midnight, short stories by Daphne Du Maurier. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Dave Musson and this is a place where quite often I talk to you about Stephen King, but in this spin-off series I'm recommending horror books that I've read recently, that I've enjoyed and that aren't by Stephen King. Yeah, this is my book club where in each episode I give you a synopsis of the book, a bit about the author, a spoiler-free review, and I try and align it to a Stephen King book to keep it on brand for the channel and to give you that point of reference to help you decide if you might want to go and try this yourself. And if you do try it and you enjoy it, once you've read it, make sure you rate it and review it on Goodreads, Amazon, Storygraph, and if you really like it, rave about it to your friends. Post about it on social media, buy them copies for their birthday, all of that kind of good stuff. Now, if you want to explore more of my recommendations in my book club, only positive stuff from the book club, I only recommend books I have enjoyed, check out the full playlist. There are almost 70 books for you to explore there. Lots of new ones, lots of new to me ones, just lots of fun books to go and explore, from indie authors right through to quite famous ones, like this week. So this time I'm covering a new collection of Daphne Du Maurier's darker short stories, which is called After Midnight. It came out at the end of September and I've just finished reading it and I want to tell you about it. This is my first time reading Du Maurier, so don't know whether that counts against me, but hey, I've got there in the end and I'm here to tell you how I got on with this collection. So let's get into it. Okay, here's your synopsis. On a sharp December day, the wind changes and the birds begin to gather. In the twisting alleyways of Venice, a grieving couple catch a glimpse of their lost child. A woman returns home to find no trace of her existence. From the inimitable imagination of Daphne Du Maurier, these 13 stories pierce to the dark heart of our between... That doesn't make sense, does it? Pierce to the dark heart of our between men and women. Okay, that's what it said. Humanity and nature, love and obsession, the future and the past. Uncanny, provocative and spine-crawlingly terrifying, these tales will keep you up long after midnight. Whatever you do, don't look now. Introduced by international bestseller Stephen King. I've heard of him. And a bit about the author for you. So Daphne Du Maurier was born on 13th of May 1907 at 24 Cumberland Terrace, Regent's Park, London. Don't quite get the postcode, but just about. The middle of three daughters of prominent actor-manager Sir Gerald Du Maurier and actress Muriel, née Beaumont. In many ways, her life resembles a fairy tale. Born into a family with a rich artistic and historical background, her paternal grandfather was author and Punch cartoonist George Du Maurier, who created the character of Svengali in the 1894 novel Trilby, and her mother was a maternal niece of journalist, author and lecturer Comyns Beaumont. She and her sisters were indulged as children and grew up enjoying enormous freedom from financial and parental restraint. Her elder sister Angela Du Maurier also became a writer, and her younger sister Jean was a painter. While contemporary writers were dealing critically with such subjects as the war, alienation, religion, poverty, Marxism, psychology and art, and experimenting with new techniques such as the stream of consciousness, Du Maurier produced old-fashioned novels with straightforward narratives that appealed to a popular audience's love of fantasy, adventure, sexuality and mystery. At an early age, she recognised that her readership was comprised principally of women, and she cultivated their loyal following through several decades by embodying their desires and dreams in her novels and short stories. In some of her novels, however, she went beyond the technique of the formulaic romance to achieve a powerful psychological realism reflecting her intense feelings about her father and to a lesser degree her mother. This vision, which underlies Julius, Rebecca and the Parasites, is that of an author overwhelmed by the memory of her father's commanding presence. In Julius and the Parasites, for example, she introduces the image of a domineering but deadly father and the daring subject of incest. In Rebecca, on the other hand, Du Maurier fuses psychological realism with a sophisticated version of the Cinderella story. So there's your background. Let's get into my spoiler-free review of After Midnight. So for some reason I've never got round to reading Du Maurier. Rebecca has been on my TBR list for ages, but I just still haven't got round to it. However, that did mean that when I saw I had the chance to grab a review copy of a new collection or a new gathering of short stories of hers with a darker edge and an introduction from my favourite author, well, I jumped at the chance. So I will say the stories here are not fast reads. I don't know whether that's the writing style or just where I was at when I was reading them, but they moved along pretty slowly. And for the stories I liked, it wasn't a problem at all. It did grate somewhat on the stories I didn't like. However, overall, I enjoyed this collection, otherwise I wouldn't be bringing it to you at the book club. And I wanted to shout out some particular stories, so I'm going to go back to my notes. So it starts off with The Blue Lenses, and probably, well, easily my favourite of the collection. This one is fantastic and haunting story. It has such strong imagery of seeing humans with animal heads. Like, really unnerving. I kind of saw the twist ending coming, but it didn't make it any less excellent. You've got to remember that authors like Du Maurier are where these twists come from. So when she was putting these stories out, I wouldn't have seen them coming. It's just she's so influential that it's gone through time and time again. But this story was genuinely unnerving, Bradbury-esque if you've never read any Du Maurier like me. And it's one King mentions in his introduction as well, and I can see why he was drawn to it. I really enjoyed Don't Look Now as well. I did find it a little bit long-winded, but I also enjoyed this looming sense of dread that was there throughout. And another one, I did see the ending coming a little bit, but I still thought it was an excellent stinger at the end of the tale. The Alibi I found really unsettling, and it was a strange story that really came to life when we discovered what was in the parcel and then we hurtle towards its conclusion. Like I said, unsettling. The Birds. Yeah, we've all heard of that one, right? I still haven't watched the film The Birds either, although as per King's introduction, the story and the film are quite different things. As for the story, gripping, dread-inducing. There's this sequence where he's running back to his cottage, which is just totally heart-thumping, and the story has such a bleak ending. I mean, linking it to King again, you can totally see an inspiration for Trucks and a tonal inspiration for his Bachman pseudonym here. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with The Birds. So The Doll, I don't necessarily think I liked it as much as the others, but it's really stuck in my head as being this weird little story, like a very weird little story. I mean, basically because I have the question to ask, like, was she screwing the doll? The other one I wanted to shout out was Split Second, which was just fun and spooky and was like an episode of The Twilight Zone, before The Twilight Zone was even a thing. Yeah, good times. So when trying to compare this to some King stuff, I mean, obviously Du Maurier is an inspiration on King. For me, this felt like these stories felt sort of cousins to ones that might appear in Just After Sunset or Full Dark No Stars. Kind of nasty and twisty and unsettling. So to sum up, I had a lot of fun with this collection, and I've not talked about King's intro either, which by his own admission is just a few pages of gushing praise and admiration rather than any great literary analysis. And that's fine, because his enthusiasm just makes you want to go in and enjoy this collection as well, and really sets the tone for just taking a step back and taking the time to just let these stories filter through and enjoy them for what they are. And it certainly made me even more keen to check out Rebecca as well. So huge thanks to NetGalley and the publishers for the review copy of this one. It came out at the end of September. I saw the hard copy in real life in my local independent bookshop the other day, and it is a thing of absolute beauty. Spray painted edges, gorgeous kind of orange and blue tones. Yeah, if you're looking for a nice Christmas present for someone, that one would do the job. Okay, there we go. Daphne Du Maurier's first entry into my book club. I wonder if I'll be back here talking about Rebecca at some point soon. Hopefully, because I know a lot of people like it. Anyway, thanks for watching. If you made it this far, I'm going to throw a few quick plugs at you. Everything I want to plug is listed below, but those things are my own collection of short stories, Once More Around the Sun, my Stephen King trivia book, my range of Stephen King themed band shirts, and the fact that you can become a member of this channel, become a constant viewer, support me directly, get extra content and all of that kind of stuff. I've recently passed 10,000 subscribers on this channel, which is amazing. So if you've not already subscribed, hey, join the 10,000 club. There's literally thousands of you there. And hey, tell a friend as well. Let's see if we can get to 11,000, shall we? And most of all, take care. Happy reading.